Members of the military are at risk of losing their careers, their livelihood, for behavior that is often not even a crime in the civilian system. That's why you need to know the facts. You need to know your options, and you need the help of experts when facing military justice.
Hi, I'm Jim Buchanan, and welcome to another edition of Military Justice. Our guest today is Jonathan Crisp, who is a trial attorney specializing in military law at Crisp and Associates. Welcome, Jonathan. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
We want to talk about the military discharge upgrades. Now, I'm familiar with honorable discharge and dishonorable discharge, but
Sure.
there are grades in between there, right?
There are, for enlisted service members, there's 5 characterizations of service you can get. You're starting with your best. If you are, you perform your service admirably, there's no misconduct issues, you're going to get an honorable discharge just as a matter of course. If there is minor misconduct, you're going to look at a general under honorable conditions. Each service is going to differ in how they're going to define that. But most of the time it's maybe a positive urinalysis test for an illegal substance or just not serving as well as they want you to. Then the next one down from that is going to be a general under other than honorable, or OTH. Every service, again, has different acronyms for that, but those are 3 administrative characteristics or characterizations, that can only be given through an administrative process. The bad conduct and dishonorable are ones that go through a court-martial. So you can only get them if you are court-martialed, and the court-martial allows for that. And for officers, the equivalent is going to be a dismissal, or a dishonorable discharge is the equivalent from the enlisted side. So,
But these are difficult to reverse, right?
they can be. The military applies what's called the presumption of administrative regularity, which basically says, we did everything right. It's now your burden to prove that we did something wrong or that you're entitled to it. And there are a couple ways in which you can establish that basis to entitle yourself to a discharge upgrade. It is not automatic, but what you're going to do is you're going to apply and you're going to either argue a propriety violation, which is basically a due process violation, or you're going to argue a equity petition asserting that fundamental fairness concepts apply and you should get a discharge upgrade.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, it's not an automatic thing. You have to apply for the other.
There has been a myth for decades, certainly for the 20-some years I've been doing this, that don't worry about it, just sign this, you'll get a bad characterization, but it'll automatically upgrade. It doesn't happen that way. It is absolutely not true. You have to ask, and there's no guarantee you're going to do it, depending on the strength of your case.
So what are some of the advantages of having the honorable discharge?
The biggest things come down to, everyone's going to have different reasons as to why they're going to want to do this, but the biggest things come down to benefits that you're entitled to and that you're able to claim as a civilian when you get out of the service. So it could be anything from death benefits, it could be GI Bill, it could be VA housing assistance. If you go to the va.gov website, there's a huge plethora of things that talks about that. But a lot of people want to do it for the GI Bill educational benefits. Some people are more focused on housing, or just the ability to go to the VA and get medical care for the injuries you sustained during your time in service.
So when you have a discharge, there's a period, I guess called a period of separation or a process of separation. Correct. What are some of the rights that personnel would have in that?
Anybody who has more than 6 years of service time is entitled to an actual hearing before they're kicked out. So you can waive that under certain conditions if it's to your best, if it's to your advantage to do so. A lot of times there are certain conditions where you'd want to say, listen, I'd rather have an administrative separation than a bad conduct or a dishonorable, meaning I don't want to go to trial. I'd rather just get not a great characterization, but certainly not as bad as going through a court-martial process. So there's reasons why you may waive that hearing. Everybody is entitled to seek legal counsel. You're entitled to submit a rebuttal to the administrative packet. So those are your basic foundational building blocks. A lot of times kids don't understand that, especially, they're just told to sign stuff, waive the right to the attorney. It's not going to matter. It can, and that's part of the process that we can assist in.
So you're going to be signing something to get this in motion.
Correct.
What are some of the things that you should be aware of in the signature?
When it tells you, you realize that this characterization of service will not change, you can apply, I'm giving up certain things. Each service call is a little bit different, but it's a notification of rights or an election of rights. So anything that says, these are your rights, okay, well, make sure you understand what those rights really are. And if you don't, take it to an attorney.
And that's going to say that's where you come in, and it's always
Correct.
advisable to contact someone like yourself to guide you through that process.
We can not only help in trying to preclude that separation process, but we can help if it's been 10, 15, even 30 years. We get people from Vietnam era and earlier calling well after, and the service can waive that statute of limitations for good cause. And we can talk about the way to put the packet together in the strongest possible way to submit to the Discharge Upgrade Board for the respective service.
Always great advice. Thanks,
Thank you.
Jonathan. Appreciate it. That's all the time we have today for Military Justice. Thank you for watching, and thanks, Jonathan, for being here with us today. If you're interested in learning more about today's topic, go to mymilitarylawyers.com. Remember, you need to know the facts, you need to know your options, and you need the help of experts when facing military justice.